In this video, we have another Silver Age CGC unboxing, and we're going to take a look at the grader's notes and the grading. Stay tuned.
Bry's Comics.
First off, thank you to everyone who came out to the live sale. By the time you're watching this, all of the books should be on their way to you. So thank you once again for all the support. That was a lot of fun. I appreciate all of you. And this is the last chance to get in on the March giveaways for Bry's Comics. We've got the YouTube giveaway, first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. Comment on this video, like this video, and subscribe to the channel, and you're entered to win that. And sign up for the newsletter at bryscomics.com, and you're entered to win the first appearance of Jubilee. So we've got an awesome set of books today. I really enjoy videos like this because it helps me get better at grading. It helps me get better at what to look for when, looking at books and trying to predict what the grades are and making decisions based on that. And, after a certain amount of time of doing this, if you go back and watch some of my other CGC with grading videos, you can start to get really good at saying, okay, this is a 3.0, this is a 4.0, this is a 5.0, this is a 6.0. It's pretty distinguishable to know the differences between those grades. Now, there's nuance, and you just need to get close, right? So you could say, oh, this looks like a 6.0. It could come back a 6.5 or a 5.5, but you're really close. And if you get good enough at it, there can be way less surprises when it comes to purchasing books raw and sending them in to get graded. I think these videos are valuable, and they're certainly a lot of fun. Let's hop into these books. Here we go, starting off with X-Men number 6. It came back a 3.0 with cream to off-white pages, and what an awesome cover this is. This is actually also the first time that Scarlet Witch appears on a cover in the correct color. The two previous appearances to this in X-Men 4 and X-Men 5, she appears green, and here she finally appears red. So it's kind of a cool little tidbit. Just an awesome early X-Men, awesome cover. All of these early X-Men covers, for the most part, are so enjoyable. So this got a 3.0 because of light creasing to cover, light pieces out to cover, and light staining to cover. So here you can see at least some of the light staining to cover up there, and here you can see what they're calling light pieces out to cover. Now this is interesting to me. I'm kind of surprised that that's considered light. I mean, it looks a little bit bigger than light if you ask me. If you take a look with the measuring tape here, it's about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So I was surprised that 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches square out and you still get a 3.0. But what it does do is gives me hope for my Fantastic Four number 1. My Fantastic Four number 1 has a piece out here, and it also has just a ton of pressable defects. This book has never been pressed or cleaned. It's just a beautiful 2.5. The back has some smearing and stuff that was noted on the grader's notes, but it's never been pressed or cleaned. And the notes say a small piece out to the front cover. And if you take a look there, it's about 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. Now, I know one thing that's important about pieces out to the cover is where the piece is out to the cover. Like if it's a really important part of the cover, I believe that affects the grade more. So this one isn't necessarily an important part of the cover. It's right there. So that's good. It has that going for it. This one is definitely not an important part of the cover. It's the back corner, right? So that probably helped it retain the 3.0. But like I said, I'm a little bit surprised that this one got a 3.0. I thought it probably would have got a 2.5, but at the end of the day, it's a 2.5 versus a 3.0. I mean, it's very, very similar. Here we have Batman 234 in a 3.0. The first Silver Age appearance of Two-Face. And the grader's notes on this say light staining to cover, light staple tears, light tears to cover, and moderate creasing to cover. So when you look at the staples here, you can see that they're kind of sunk into the book, and that's what they considered light staple tears. I was a little concerned that the cover was going to become detached. It was pretty delicate when handling it. And then also these creases to the cover. These are really large, and there's the staining on the back. X-Men 2 in a 4.0. So this one says light creasing to cover, very light pieces out to cover, very light tears to cover. So here's the very light piece out to cover. Okay, so that's very light piece out. The Fantastic Four #1 was small piece out, and the 3.0 with the 1.5 inch was light piece out. So this is very light piece out, and it got a 4.0. The light creasing to cover is something you see very standard in a 4.0. This is like a reader's crease from it just, you know, being read and enjoyed so many times. And then we also have some of that light creasing here. So this is considered light creasing. And then we have some light tears to the cover, like right there. And that's what I think kept this back from a 5.0 is the light tears. I think without the light tears, this could have got a 5.0. But second appearance of the X-Men, first appearance of the Vanisher. If this was a more epic cover, this would be a much bigger book. I mean, it's the second appearance of the X-Men. You still got them in their Mark I suits. Just so awesome. Love that book. Showcase number 34 from 1961, 10-cent DC Showcase book, origin and first appearance of the Silver Age Atom, and the first appearance of Jean Loring. And the greatest notes on this one say light creasing to cover, light finger bends on cover, light spine splits to cover, and light staple tears. So this was a book that was, you know, pretty delicate. As you can see, there's, you know, staple tears going on. There's a lot of wear on the spine, very typical in a 4.0. And I just didn't want to go too hard on it in the press or cleaning or anything. I didn't want to cause any more damage. There's only so much you can do anyways with a book like this. It's a 4.0. If you look on the back, you can tell, you know, it's got a little bit of a shadow. It's got some staining. I mean, there's only so much you can do to help improve a book like this. And at a certain point, you know, you don't want to cause any more damage. So I did clean and press it, but, you know, I didn't go too hard. I didn't want to make things worse than they were. So even if I was to smooth this out even more, how much higher of a grade would it get? And that's an important thing to keep in mind with cleaning and pressing these older books, is sometimes there's only so much you can do. You know, sometimes a book has just got enough color breaking inherent flaws that, you know, it'll tap out at a certain grade, and you may not even want to risk pressing it, especially when you get down to like the 2.5 range. Hawkman #4, and this is the origin and first appearance of Zatanna. We've got a movie coming in the works, and the graders notes say light creasing to cover, light tears to cover, moderate spine stress lines to cover. So here you can see the moderate spine stress lines that are common with a 4.0. That's what a 4.0 spine looks like often. Here's the creasing to the cover, light. This is considered light creasing. And you know, a 3.0 would have about 15 lines like that, just heavy, heavy, heavy right there. And in fact, it's not heavy, they would call it moderate. But this is light. It's just a couple creases, color breaking creases to the cover. Here you can see there's a little bit of a miscut. This is just, you know, the book was slightly miscut, and a little bit of the printer guide came through on the book. It's not an error. I've seen somebody on eBay have a book listed for like $1 million, and it's like a Bronze Age book. I think it's a Wolverine #1. He wants $1 million because it's a miscut. It's like, come on. And anyways, all right, Fantastic Four #19, the first appearance of Rama Tut, and a letter from Steve Gerber, and a full-page ad for X-Men #1. So this is from 1963. It's really cool to actually see this book. I've never actually owned this book. It's got light creasing to cover, light spine stress lines to cover, very light cover tanning, and very light spine splits to cover. So I don't think I'm going to be able to capture it on camera because it is like right in the spine where the split is, but there's very light spine splits. So sometimes a cover can get so much wear that it actually splits, and you know, at a certain point, you know, the whole cover can split and come off. That's at like the 1.8 range. But this is just very light spine splits to cover, so it's like the beginning stages of that wear, and it still retained the 4.5. So here you can see the very light tanning to cover starting to come through. So 4.5, awesome book. All right, Fantastic Four number 36, and it came back a 4.5 white pages, which is cool, but it's restored. The restoration is for the top edge of front cover trimmed. There's light creasing to cover and moderate spine stress lines to cover. So someone in their infinite wisdom thought that it would be a good idea to trim this part of the cover, and it's really frustrating because it's not even straight. I mean, it's like totally wacky amateur job of trimming it. But I still wanted to get it graded because I had this book raw. I knew that it had trimming, and nobody's going to want to buy a raw trimmed book because there's so much uncertainty. You don't know the extent of the restoration, what else has been done. So when you get it graded, it's about 40 bucks, fast track economy, 45 bucks to have the book graded. And I figured at least that way we know exactly what it is. We can definitively put a value on it and see exactly the extent of the restoration. And to be honest, I mean, the purple label and the purple on the cover, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't present bad by any means. And it got that white pages, which is cool. Thor 129, 5.5 off-white to white, first appearance of Ares, Hercules, Pluto, and Zeus appearance. So we've got light creasing to cover, light finger bends on cover, and light staining to cover. Just an awesome book. I would love to own this book in higher grade, especially with the rumors of Ares coming to the MCU. I think it's a good spec and an awesome cover. X-Men number 8, 5.5 off-white pages, first appearance of Unus the Untouchable, and a Mastermind appearance and Beast pinup. I really like this cover. I think that this is an awesome cover. I mean, we've got the X-Men there in their early suits. Sometimes white covers can be pulled off and look really nice. I think there's really nice contrast with this book. And the colors in the trade dress of this are just phenomenal. I thought that this book was actually going to grade a little bit higher than a 5.5. And the grader's notes say light creasing to cover, light spine stress lines to cover, light tears to cover, and very light cover tanning. So this is, I think, the main thing holding it back from a higher grade is that tear. I think without that tear, this is a 6.5. I mean, as you can see, the spine has very minimal issues. That's a little bit of a staple tear there. But as far as color break on the spine, it's like in the 6.5 range, and very light tanning on the cover. I don't know. I guess I was hopeful, but you know, a tear like that can really drop the grade. And it's kind of unfortunate. Strange Tales 135. So we've got light creasing to cover and very light tears to cover. So there you can see the light creasing, and I'm having a hard time finding the light tears. I think it might just be this edge here and these little wear marks. I guess those can be considered tears. And last but not least, Iron Man 54, first appearance of Moondragon. This is my third copy. I have a 9.6, a 9.0, and a 7.5. I'm definitely holding this book for the time being, and I have to decide if I want to crack this because I thought that this would grade a lot higher, more like the 9.0 range, and the reason that it didn't, light creasing to cover, light spine stress lines to cover, and very light wear all corners of cover. So the very light wear isn't anything that, you know, you don't see in a 9.0, right? I mean, it's just very, very light wear on the corners. And the light spine stress lines are also, you know, not anything that you wouldn't see in a 9.0. I mean, these are very light spine stress lines. They're not huge color breaking defects. That's the staple right there. But it's this crease right here that I think kept it back from a much higher grade 8.5 or 9.0. And it's not color breaking, and I think I can definitely work on it some more. And I just have to decide if it's worth it. You know, it's like probably a $300 or $400 difference in grade. But of course, this is a super hot spec book right now, and I think it's definitely going to pay out. We got Phyla-Vell rumored for the MCU. Moondragon's her lover. I think she's coming, and I have a little bit of time to figure out if I want to crack and press that or just keep it as is. So there you have it, guys. Another awesome set of books. I freaking love this hobby. I freaking love these books. I freaking love everything about it. And like I always say, it's just getting worse. I'm just falling more and more in love with these comic books and this hobby. And I'm just so grateful that all of you are coming along with me on this amazing ride. We're just getting started. This is the greatest hobby in the world. Thank you, as always, for sticking with me to the end of the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bry's Comics.